Thank you for choosing to watch this video. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and start just tapping during the intro, either collarbone, or feel free to tap through all the different points, whatever feels comfortable. We have a tendency to label ourselves and say, I am part of this group. And I'm not saying that's bad or wrong. It's actually part of our human makeup because there was a time many years ago where we needed to be a part of a tribe to survive. And so it's built into us to want to belong. It's a very strong urge inside of us. The challenging thing is that oftentimes when we say, I am, and label ourselves as part of a group, it becomes this us or them thing. And if I am part of this group, I must therefore hate members of this other group. And this is true with political parties, this is true with sports teams, it's true with religions, all kinds of different things where there's the possibility of my desire to belong putting me at odds with other members of this human family. And that can lead to all kinds of pain and unnecessary suffering. And maybe we can get past that. You know, when we say, I am this, we cut ourselves off from so many different possibilities. And certainly, especially in American politics, and I'm sure this is true of other countries, there are people at the edges of the different parties that keep pushing the boundaries and becoming more extreme, and that shifts the entire party this way. So when I say I am a member of this group, I then have to keep adjusting, and I may feel compelled to adopt beliefs that some time back I would have thought terrible, or I certainly wouldn't have gone along with them. But now it's like, well, okay, but this is who I am. I'm part of this group. And so if this group is now saying this, then I guess that's what I'm going to go along with. And we get lost in that label. So we want to be very careful about how we use the words, I am. So instead of saying, I am a Democrat, or I am a Republican, or I am whatever it might be, allowing yourself to say, well, in general, I tend to vote this way. I tend to agree with these principles. But allowing ourselves to let go of that I am statement, such that we can say, I am a human being. I am a member of my society, and I want the best for society. And recognizing how those labels can sometimes take us away from that. And if you're with me on this, or at least willing to explore that and take full responsibility for your own well-being, please tap with me. Even though I label myself this way, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I label myself this way, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I label myself this way, I say I am because I really want to belong to a group. And sometimes the things the group says are things I wouldn't have believed some time ago. But I really want to belong. And even though I label myself this way, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who contributed to this belief and told me that I needed to do this. All this need to label myself this way, all this need to say, I am this, all this need to go along with that crowd. Because there's something inside of me that feels such a strong need to belong that I'll sometimes move my internal boundaries to stay in step with that group. Not because I'm bad or stupid. Not because I'm weak or lazy. But because I have all this programming about the need to belong. And if I belong to this group, I have to be against other groups. I may even convince myself that it feels good to be against these other groups. I need to judge the other groups. I may need to hate the other groups because other people in my group are hating them, and I don't want to be left out. If I don't hate who they hate, they might not think I belong anymore. And then my group's going to hate me. I may not be consciously aware of these fears, but I'm open to the possibility that they're there. And that's why I say some of the things that I say. That's why I feel some of the things that I feel, that separate me from fellow human beings. But I'm a member of my society. And everything is energy. So I'm connected to everybody. So any harmful energy I send towards anybody, I'm sending toward myself as well. And I choose to knock that off. I gotta stop doing that. And even though I may have said some awful things, or thought some awful things, I choose to love and appreciate that part of me that felt it was necessary to do so in order to feel that I belong, in order to feel a sense of community. And as I allow myself to calm down, as I allow myself to clear what doesn't feel like peace, as I allow myself to clear what doesn't feel like love, I can allow myself to be more clear that when my community is based around hating others, or at least if that's a big part of it, it's just not good for my well-being. It's not good for society. It's not good for the world. And since I'm part of this world, I choose to clear this up. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. So I choose to clear what doesn't feel like peace. So that when I say I am, I might say, I am peace. I am love. I tend to vote for these particular people. I might root for this particular team. But I'm letting go of the need to label myself. And part of me says I'll be losing something. I choose to be open to the possibility that I gain so much more. I'm allowing myself to be much more careful about how I use the words I am. I want it to be something really positive. Something that feels really good in a healthy way. Because the more I do that, the more amazing things I can create in my life. I cannot hate this world into a better place. The uncomfortable energy that comes from a lot of labels cannot take us to a healthier place. And I'm giving myself permission to recognize that. This doesn't mean I give up on priorities. I can still see what I think would be the better way. But I choose to be for something positive rather than always against something. That's just something I've been taught. I may have been raised by people who were against a lot of things. And they were doing the best they could. And I may feel a need to think the way they think. Otherwise, I'm betraying them. And I choose to clear that. I choose to honor their highest self, not their scared self. I'm clearing fear. Allowing myself to see how fear might be behind these labels. How this need to label myself in certain ways actually comes from fear. And if there's anger involved, there's definitely fear underneath. And I'm processing that. Clearing what doesn't feel like peace. Clearing what doesn't feel like love. So that I can say that I am peace and love. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. And thank you for going through that. It It's possible it brings up all kinds of different things, but really challenging yourself to look at the possibility of looking at how you use the words I am. So instead of saying, I am a conservative or I am a liberal, or whatever those terms might be that you might be using, allowing yourself to say, I tend to have more conservative views, or I tend to have more liberal views, but not labeling yourself and separating yourself from humanity. Give it a try. Challenge yourself. Take a look at the amazing things that could happen for you as you set yourself free from the limitations of those labels. Just saying. And if there's other stuff that comes up along the way, I'm here for you. Thanks.